Hi, I'm Alex Hester and this is my level factory.
Looks like the storm has taken out the power to the factory. If I want the TVL, I'll have to fix the solar panels and connect the power to the door.
The first solar panel is real plain and easy for the player to see, so that way they can get an idea for what they're looking for. The voice line explains what they're trying to do and where they can find some of the things they need. The next solar panel is behind this pile of boxes. If the player moves them out of the way or climbs over them, they can find it behind the crate.
The water looks disgusting. Wouldn't want to swim in that.
The voice line acts as a warning to the player that the water will actually cause steady damage to them if they touch it. By standing next to the empty pedestals and pressing E, the player can replace the solar panels that are missing. The last solar panel can be found on top of this box. The player will have to move the smaller box over in order to jump up and reach it. Now that all the solar panels are in place, the light on the connector turns green, indicating that there is power to the input. If the player places the cable in the plug, power will be sent to the door and it will open.
There must be extra cables around here somewhere. But none of the cables I've seen so far look like they'll fit in place to power the warehouse door.
The player must find the first cable inside the open office and use it to open the second office, which contains the second cable.
Great! There's another one. I'll need to unplug the one I used to open this door and reuse it to power the safe.
By using both connectors, the player can open the safe and find the weapon blueprint and the special connector that opens the warehouse door.
Ah, it's jammed. I'll have to find another way in.
The player can turn on the lights by plugging in the connector.
It looks like a grapnel device on the ceiling. I wonder if I can turn it on.
Using another cable, the player can send power to the grapnel crane and ride it into the refinery. Now the player must find a few metal ingots and place them into the furnace, then send power to the furnace. The first ingot can be found on a steel beam along the wall. From there, the player can use the other steel beams that are physics objects and snap them into place to make bridges and a ramp for them to get on top and find the next two metal ingots. This special connector will be needed in order to send power to the assembly line crane, which sends the metal up to the assembly line. The last ingot can be found behind these boxes underneath the crane button. By standing next to the furnace and pressing E, the player can place the metal ingots inside. The player must use the straight connector to resend power to the furnace.
Come on, baby, light my fire. I better stick with my day job.
Now that the player has melted the metal, they must use a special connector to activate the assembly line crane. Now the player must take the straight connector and use it to open the second refinery door. From there, they must make their way across the warehouse and up the stairs to get to the assembly line.
I gotta find something to put in here so I can get across.
A section of the stairs has fallen out. This unjumpable gap must be crossed by using the steel beam as a bridge. From there, the player can jump the rest of the way. Now the player must find 3 missing casts to make the parts for the TBL. The first cast can be found behind a stack of boxes behind the metal. The next one can be found on top of the assembly unit. This straight connector can be used to send power to the assembly unit and create the TBL once all the casts are found. This special connector on top of these boxes is needed in order to send power to the assembly line crane that carries the container and the player out of the level. By standing next to the conveyor belt and pressing E, the player can place all the casts on the conveyor belt.
Awesome!
Now that the player has the TBL, they can activate the crane and leave the scene.
Hello, my name is Evan Schwartz, and this is my area.
Okay. I have this TBL thing, which is supposed to protect me from these radioactive clouds. I need to get some experimental fuel cell that they think created these clouds to save the world. And my first task here is to check out a generator. I'm a scrapper, not a frickin' electrician.
So, as you're going through this area, picking up objects,
Money just laying around. Seems like a waste to leave it here unguarded.
the scrapper is helping the player by monologuing.
Hey, this battery looks like it can recharge the TBL. Nice.
And your first order of business is to investigate the generator to see if it's in good working order, because your objective is to get the fuel cell, and you won't be able to get a fuel cell ejected from the reactor
I'm sure this'll come in handy.
without
Yeah, I wonder what
the
side
generator
effects are.
configured for failover.
Thank God. Okay, it just needs a fuse. This used to be a power plant or something, right? They gotta have a fuse around here somewhere.
So after investigating the generator, you realize it's in good working order. You just need a fuse for the circuit breakers, and hopefully there's one in here.
Oh, really? Acid? Oh, come on. I got a date later. Just don't splash on my face. Or, yeah.
Setting off the traps is much like the TBL. It can attract the clouds.
Okay, fuse. Check. Now I need to find the circuit breakers and get this thing installed. If it wasn't for the apocalypse, I could be an electrician. Yeah, that's the ticket.
Gotta be careful, that gravinol is attracting the clouds. Another acid pit to get over, a little bit bigger.
Oh.
Or to bathe in.
Well, that wasn't hard. What's it say here? All 3 control panels must be configured for failover after breaker restart. Okay, If I were a control panel, where would I be?
So at this point, you're configuring the consoles to allow the reactor to fail over to generator, which is the only way you can eject the fuel cell and get the experimental fuel cell. By hitting every single track.
Okay, let's eject the core, get the fuel cell, and get the hell out of this place.
This is the lab where you can issue the eject command. The lab will close itself off once ejected.
Nice lab. Man, that's big. I wonder how much radiation is coming off this thing.
You have to crouch under the reactor to be able to get the fuel cell that's now ejected, and the system has fallen over to failed over to the generator.
Something tells me I've worn out my welcome. I gotta go.
At this point, holding the fuel cell, all the clouds will be chasing you, so you have to kind of evade or use the TBL to draw them away and avoid a narrower acid trap and some other debris while you're trying to get out.
Are you kidding? Who had time to dig this frickin' pit?
As the scrapper's amazed, that's a pretty deep pit for someone to have been able to dig, so. And you're done.
Hello, my name is James Boyer, and this is the beginning of my area. It starts off in a long hallway with boxes to avoid.
I'm never
You can
gonna
crawl
get
under.
paid.
And these can be moved with a gravinal or just knocked down. Initially, the security door on the left is locked, so we'll need to grab the ammo crate here that's on the floor and move it over to the security desk onto the pressure plate. And once we hear the click, we know it's unlocked. We can then press E near the door to open it.
Those tripwires look like they'll really give me a bad day. You better not touch them.
In the warehouse here, we'll need to avoid the tripwires by pressing C to duck under them or spacebar to jump over them, depending on how high they are. And there's items scattered throughout to gather up. You cannot jump over the airplanes or the jeeps or the armored vehicles. There are medical kits throughout if you need health. You can always press T once you've picked one up to heal yourself. In this area, you'll need to climb over and under the beams to be able to get through. And then there's a tripwire here also. That will complete the objective of making it to the stairs. And then we have the control room.
The panel looks like it controls the fan in the security camera. I wonder what combinations of levers will shut it off.
So we'll need to find the combination before we can shut it off. This ladder will help us get up to the top.
That ladder on the floor should help me get up to that walkway.
On this side, we'll need to jump down. There's the fan that you can see is actually spinning.
Must be the combination for the levers to shut it off.
So now we need to avoid the cloud and make it back to the control room.
Back to the control room.
You'll need to crouch to get into the air duct and then to get out of it also.
Last week, I realized that the fuel cell itself
Here you'll need to
was
pop off the
mysterious
grate
moving clouds
covering the
outside.
vent.
Today, I have finally figured out how.
Then you'll need to enter in the combination.
But before I could make the necessary modifications to the fuel cell, one of the two components was stolen by my lead technician and taken to the abandoned church nearby. I hid prototypes of the other component inside of the teddy bears in the arcade until the other piece can be retrieved.
Now we can see the fans off
If
and we
the
can
pieces
exit
aren't
it.
combined with the fuel
We
cell,
just need to avoid
soon
the clouds.
gas clouds will take over the entire area. Oh no! The gas clouds are coming into the base. I
There's
have
a
to
couple
get out of
tripwires
now.
here. Once we avoid the tripwires, we just have a couple more clouds to deal with, and then we can go to the barricades and crawl through them. And there's actually 2 ways of getting through the barricades here.
I need to
Hi,
find that
my name's
stuffed
Alex
teddy bear
Seletyn,
from the
and this
nearby
is
arcade.
my area. A lot of the
I should
changes,
probably visit the arcade.
a lot of the
first.
changes that I've made here are mostly
I'll have to
functional
find another
and
way across.
visual. Though we have also made some very big audio changes to the entire level. For instance, now colliding objects do cause a sound effect, so that it actually seems like you're actually throwing these things around in your environment, and they react accordingly. Here I've added a brand new waterfall, so it's not the kind of simple one that I had before. It's a little bit more waterfall-esque.
Looks like I need to use these 2 pillars to cross the river.
We've also
Maybe if I
dramatically
keep the square one in
improved
front
the
of me.
performance between the last build and this current build. The last build, I had several issues with my level because the frame rate was so low. But now that the frame rate has increased dramatically across all of our areas, the level runs much more smoothly now.
I should pull this lever to let down the ladder. Power's out in the arcade, too. I guess I can be an electrician again.
And so I've also done a lot of work
Restore
about
power
trying
to
to
get
get
the
the
doors
voice lines to not accidentally cut each other off.
Looks like someone forgot to put this car.
And so now some of the
Maybe I
voice
can
lines
push
are a
it
little
out of the
bit
way to get
shorter
to
in
that
order to,
cache.
compensate for the distance between themselves.
Better use the grabnel to carry this generator. I think I saw a fuse box on the side of the arcade. Maybe I can use these pillars.
Now for
to
this
help
build,
me
I
get
did want to
across the
actually
big
showcase the intended way to go through this setup, and it's a lot. It's pretty similar to the river in that you stand on top of 2 pillars and you try to make your way across. But in this situation, you've also got 2 other pillars one other pillar that has the generator on top of it. And an interesting thing about this that I'll get to later is that the return trip from the arcade with the teddy bear, you can actually do you can actually choose to do a similar setup to this, or you can do a similar setup to what's inside the arcade.
The generator needs gas.
Okay, so as always, the arcade starts up after you've started the generator. You hear music, you know it's ready.
Looks like I gotta win some tickets before I can get that bear.
Now, alongside our performance being better, I've also done a lot of work to some sounds inside of the arcade and improving how they work. It's like here, you hear the the pins being knocked over. But more specifically with regards to the ducks, the improved frame rate and the new hit detection on them causes it to where the balls aren't ever going to just go through the ducks. And here I wanted to show off that you can't cheat either and just knock over the ducks. You have to actually play the game. But yeah, now the balls reliably knock over the ducks if you do actually hit them. Which I'm really glad to see, because that's something that was plaguing me since the very beginning of me making this area.
Whoa, jackpot of teddy bears. Good to know in case I lose one. Gotta get this teddy bear back across the river. I need to find a way to get it there without getting it wet, though. That'll probably ruin the device. I could use this third pillar in the river to get the bear across. Or
So see, right here is where you've got the option. You can either do a setup similar to the generator, or you can do a setup similar to the things you did in the arcade, which was precision throwing. So just for the sake of time, I did precision throwing here because I've already shown off how to do the other setup with the generator.
Well, I can't carry the bear through the waterfall.
I've also added
Another way to
little
get it out of this cave?
little colliders to prevent the bear from like flying through some of these areas. So once you step near this area, it gets rid of it. But
There
it'll
should
block
be
the
a
bear.
workbench up ahead on the right where I can get the device out of this teddy bear.
We've also tried to add,
time for
you
some
know,
surgery.
clouds to each of the areas into interesting places.
I need to get the bear up to the workbench on this ledge.
That way they
Maybe that boulder
you know,
in the ditch nearby.
give a
could
common theme throughout the entire level of you trying to stop these clouds. And this is just me failing at using the gravinal.
All right.
And so that's
Got
it for
half
my
the
scene.
device.
So then
Now
it's
on
on
to
to
the
Mitch's,
church.
and hope you enjoy.
Hello, my name is Mitchell Lange, and this is my area, the church.
Turrets, huh? Too bad this TVL thing isn't bulletproof. That'd be too easy.
Just another witty comment from your friendly neighborhood scrapper. So we're going to head down here. As you can see, the clouds have invaded this area as well. So our main objective is obviously to rid the world of these radioactive clouds that are wreaking havoc. So we're going to need to use the grapnel over here. So we'll use that TBL to get those clouds off of us. We'll stack these bricks, hop on over. We're going to use the bricks over here to break down this window here and get inside the church. We know from the audio
Alright,
logs
I'm in.
in
Now what?
James Boyer's area that the scientist had a colleague that took the other half of the device and hid it
Some
here.
kind of musical lock. Better find the music sheet so I can play the right notes.
Well, there's your hint for this area. Let's go ahead and try and locate this music sheet. Look at there. Okay, so we have the music sheet. And that was the right tune. So let's go ahead and go on over this area, down into the basement. Oh, gotta clear the stairs first. There we go. As you can tell from beta to gold, there is a change. There's much more ambiance now. All physics objects in the areas do have collision sounds. Looks like there's been a cave-in, so we can find our way around here. Go through this little tunnel that's been caved out. Watch out for those tripwires. Hop over. Alright. Let's head down this hallway here, see what we can find.
Looks like I won't be getting in here until I turn the generator off. Now I just gotta find the generator.
Okay. So clearly we can't go through there until we turn the generator off. Let's try and locate this generator. There's a collectible over here leading us to another hallway. Okay, we can hear the generator now. That sounds like it's on the other side of this door. Okay, well, we've seen this before. We need to find the connector. So let's head back over here and see what we can find. Nice big picture frame here. And behind it is a destructible wall. Maybe we can find something useful back through there, huh? So we'll go ahead and grab these barrels. Give ourselves some options. Okay, there's our connector. Let's go ahead and grab this, take it back to that door, and find a way to shut down the generator. Now, if you remember from beta to gold, you may notice that the cross that was originally used to break down the wall is gone. We decided that the cross was just simply too cumbersome for the player. It was too difficult to control. It was very clunky with the grapnel, so we went a different route, using the barrels and hiding it behind the picture frame instead. For this new mechanic, there's now a door here. The generator room is much smaller. It feels
Maybe
less
I can throw
vacant.
one of those wrenches in that box up there. Hopefully it'll break something.
So now we can't just flip it off, so let's go ahead and try to break it here. Take one of these wrenches. There's another mechanic that you may notice from
Alright, that did it.
Alex Seletyn's
Now I
area.
can go get that orb and get out of here.
The precision throwing that was involved in his arcade games. Sounds like the trap is now deactivated. We can get through. However, the water in here is still electrified, so we're going to need to get across that little waterway there. Easy, we know how to do this. Maybe that might be a little too far to jump. Got another one here. There we have it. Nice little bridge to get ourselves across. Grab the orb. Use our bridge to get back. We've attained the device. Let's head on up. And as you can see here, our outro cutscene, we've officially obtained the device to eliminate the radioactive clouds and save the world. Thank you.